Hey guys, happy Monday. I want to give you guys a real quick bit of advice and expectation heading into the month of November. We're 4 days into this month. More than half of you have just completed a challenge and got some phenomenal results, and the remainder have not gone through the challenge, but this is still going to apply to you. And I'll tell you why. So I've been doing a lot of one-on-ones, over the past couple months with people. And I always I like using personal examples of how I use fat burn in my life because it makes sense to you guys and it'll help you understand why I coach some of the way I do and why we do some of the things that we do. Now, so that's number one. I'm going to go through an exercise. And then number two is a lot of you guys who come into these one-on-ones, you really, and just by human nature, we have a huge disconnect between what we want to happen, the result, and then actually what plays out. Okay, so I'm going to talk about those two things. The first one is the amount of time it's going to take you to get a result and wanting that to happen really fast versus a longer period of time that you can actually manage your own life in. And I'll give you an example. I preach being in a maintenance mode. A maintenance mode to me, and knowing your minimal effective dose. A maintenance mode to me is picking a certain body fat percentage range or a certain weight range and always staying within that range. That's maintenance. So, for myself, it's been between 10 and 13% body fat for the last decade or even more. I want to say, probably for 15 years, if I'm just guessing, my body fat has been between 10 and 13%, and I'm always in a nice steady range there. When I'm really good, I drift towards 10, and when I'm off my game or just not being as strict, I drift more towards 11, 12, 13. You guys may have heard a video I put out 2 weekends ago about a bachelor party that I was at. I was at a wedding this weekend. I indulge and I live life just like all of you guys do, believe me. There was probably, too much drinking, eating at the wedding, but now it's Monday and I got my game face back on. So here's what I do. Between 10 and 13%, I just finished my 14th challenge, so that's how I get down to 10. I've got down below 10, I just don't like the amount of work it takes to do that, and that's not how I want to live my life. So in January, 12 months ago almost now, I had back surgery, and when I was done with that 4-month process of not being able to work out and live the life I normally did, I was at 15% body fat. So for the first time in a long time, I was way outside of my comfort zone or my maintenance zone. So what I was telling you guys in my one-on-ones, I hope this works, this is how I plan to get back to 10. I just completed a challenge, my 14th. Starting at 15%. This is a sprint mode for me. Now the challenges for me are 4-week periods, and my goal was to lose 10% body fat. So I'm going to turn this around so you guys can better see here. All right, we're back. So point of this here is I started the challenge at 15%. Okay? I lost the 2% body fat like I wanted to. That's 1 month. Now for the next 2 months, it's actually not even 2 months yet because our next challenge is in January 15th. I just want to maintain this body fat percentage, okay? And now in January, I'm going to work on getting myself to 11. And then after I hit that in January, I'm going to work the next 2 months just for keeping myself at 11. And then the next challenge, I'm going to hit 10. So when I look at my own goal, if you can see this chart here, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months out. And the reason I say that is because when you guys often talk about your goals, you want to have them happen right away or in a very aggressive time frame. And there's nothing wrong with an aggressive time frame. You just have to realize then what it's actually going to take for you to do in your life. So this is my point number one, how I smooth out my goals using challenges and maintenance periods so that I can be more relaxed and reset my mind. That's one. Number two, because this is a common theme in a lot of the one-on-ones I'm sitting in, especially with you guys who've just come off this challenge. If you're filling out your calendars, you know the work it took and that you had to put in to get there. You know how many PMs you had to eat. You know how many workouts you had to do. So when you sit here in the chair and you lost 8 pounds in the challenge and you're really psyched and you say, well, I did great in the challenge, so now I want to lose 10 pounds this month, okay? When we start going through the plan and I start asking you guys what you actually plan on doing to achieve that, it often looks a lot less than what you did in the challenge. So I'm speaking to multiple people who are working out less, not eating as many PMs, but your goal is higher, okay? It really doesn't line up, and it's not that hard to see the disconnect if you actually just sit down and talk about it. So in reality, instead of setting yourself for failure by saying, I want to lose 10 pounds this month, and then you actually gain a pound, which is not a bad thing. If you just lost 8, getting ready for the next challenge, you'll be able to put your expectations more in line with what's actually going to happen. Because if you were just going all out and you crushed 5 workouts and you were eating 25 PMs, and then you start working out 3 times and you eat 20 PMs, your results just might start not changing, which is the whole point. I'll end it here, and I want to encourage you guys to set up one-on-ones with myself. I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Stanford this month of December. Set up one-on-ones with Chris. Or set up one-on-ones with Jenna. I've just been spending a lot of time training Jenna on this whole process, and she is a registered dietitian, so she's going to have a fresh perspective on all these things. But it will help serve you best to get your expectations in line with what's going to happen to you this December, having a plan with your coach and yourself of what you're actually going to execute on this December, and also being lenient enough to enjoy the holidays and have fun and get your mind right for the challenge come January. And for those of you guys who don't participate in the challenges, I get not doing every one, but you know I really do highly encourage you to do most of the challenges so that you do go through those results phases, because if you skip a few, you're going to find yourself drifting. My opinion, how I go navigate through fat burn, I utilize all the challenges, so that's why I push it on you guys. Have a great day. If you